Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. It's the morning after, the night before, or something like that, right? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and you can keep this and any other conversation I ignite going over on my Twitter at Movies TV Mad, on my Vero at Big Mouth 1, and the extension of this channel is my Instagram, which is merely Big Mouth. In a minute, I want to talk about the amazing events of Sunday and this week and what it means and what happens next. But first, I want you to listen to this.
Zach is a genius. He is so thorough, and this is what we say his wheelhouse. This is his comfort zone. I don't know many people who could find this to be their comfort zone.
He's like a big kid in the sandbox, and we're just all going to play, and we're going to make a great castle together. It's just wonderful working with him.
I think Zach is a little like Peter Pan, you know. He's like an incredibly youthful, mischievous spirit heading up the movie.
I think it's because Zach is like the biggest fan, you know, like Zach is like, it's like he's fulfilling a fantasy getting to do this, and he brings that kind of enthusiasm and that energy to the film set, and he really cares about what he's doing.
A visual master, you know, he creates imagery that I think everybody in this industry says is unparalleled. But then he also really loves actors. He hires, as you could see from this movie, like fantastic actors, even in, you know, kind of tiny roles. You know, he hires fantastic actors, and he allows them to do what they do well.
You know, that this movie is huge, and there's a lot to tell, and he set the ground for many more stories to come, and he did it brilliantly. He has such an original vision, and this is his passion. He loves comics.
Well, I was able to really learn a lot from him and watch how he constructed this big movie and watch how he told the story really with visuals, you know. And Zach was very open with me and helpful, and wanted me to be part of the learning process, so it was really good of him, I think.
Zach has a very unique and spectacular visual style. There's no one else in the industry who can achieve what Zach does visually. And when you apply that to a gladiator match like Batman v Superman, it's always going to lead to fire.
Well, I want to say this. How can anyone remove a man like this off a project? He's a genius. He's a visionary. He's a good man. Actors love him. Actors love him. Every actor I ever speak to who has ever worked with him, even in a small role, for example, little Christina, you know, I think he's kind of hot. You know, remember Christina from Man of Steel? Great little actor. Hope we see her again in the DCEU. Talking to her, you know, they all love him. They all love him because he gets the best out of his actors. His visuals are beautiful. And what they said is spot on. He's a fan. He's me and you. That's why he's captured our imagination. That's why we're fighting for his cut of Justice League. Well. What about Sunday? Over 500,000 freaking tweets. It's beautiful. But that's not the half of it. Gal Gadot tweeting, hashtag release the Snyder Cut. Ben Affleck, many actors. We spoke yesterday on yesterday's DCEU Daily about Junkie XL teasing something for today. Could it be the soundtrack? Could it be the score for the Snyder Cut of Justice League? Inject it in my veins, please. So what now? Well, first of all, I want to talk about Henry Cavill not posting release the Snyder Cut. And a lot of people are feeling a bit hard done by about that. Henry will want to make a video. Henry will want to find time to make a video. Henry will make a video. Henry will make his presence felt. Don't worry about it. It would have been awesome if we had him as well. Hashtagging release the Snyder Cut. It's not to be, but don't be too judgmental. Don't be so harsh. You know what this release the Snyder Cut thing reminds me of? It reminds me of the Spartacus movie starring Kirk Douglas. So throughout the film, people are denying Spartacus. They don't want anything to do with him. But then when they're about to kill him, Nobody wants to see him killed. They realise what this guy's about, so they all pretend they're Spartacus. In a very emotional moment, in one of the most emotional moments in a film you'll ever see, I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Zack Snyder. No, I'm Zack Snyder. No, I'm Zack Snyder. Everyone's coming out to speak up for this cut and for Zack. But it's easy to come out after the acid rain has subsided, isn't it? And it's just water. It's easier to be pelted with water than acid. Everyone's coming to the party because everybody knows this movie is going to be released now. I want you all to think about where we started with a few hundred of us after the theatrical version of Justice League and where we are now. It's not just us anymore. It's not just our bubble anymore. It's everyone. Release the Snyder Cut at one point was trending #1 worldwide on Twitter. This is absolutely massive. A few days before I was talking about us trying to reach 200,000 tweets. Over 500,000. It may go up to 600,000. People want to hit the figure of the box office of the Justice League theatrical cut. What comes next? Have RT Snyder Cut got any more plans? Or is that it? Keep on hashtagging now, because I don't think there's any more events unless they've got something planned. So keep on hashtagging when you can. But Warner Brothers have been watching all week, and I think, I don't know, but I'm guessing maybe we may get an announcement on Monday today. So if you're in America, you'll just be waking up. It's Monday. It's been Monday here for quite a while. Different time zones and everything. It's about 11 a.m. here in Cyprus, which is in Europe, just near the Middle East. So just for you to gauge where I am and what time zone I'm in and when I'm doing this video. Look, this is very, very emotional. This situation has now captured everyone's imagination. Grace Randolph, so many other bloggers, standing by Zack now. It's a beautiful thing. It's an interesting thing when people write somebody off. People don't believe in somebody. Then all of a sudden, something happens so hideous that this man was removed from this franchise. As those people said, he's a fan. He loves doing this. This is his playhouse. This is his softball ground. This is what he wants to be doing. It's a busman's holiday for him. He loves it and he's so good at it. Tell me, what's more beautiful than seeing a creative who can give visionary imagery like Zack does? That's how a comic book interpretation should be done, the way Zack makes it look. So beautiful and so well defined. And people couldn't get it before. There's always been this snobbery in Hollywood, even from other creatives. But you wait and see. They're all going to be crawling out of the cracks now. Yeah, Zack Snyder, always respected him. Where have you been when the fight was difficult? The truth is now, the studio are allowing these people to come out. That's the only possible situation. Basically, for people like Gal and Jason Momoa, it's a lot easier to come out. They've got their careers. Nothing's going to happen to them. They would have been told, you can talk about it now. In terms of Henry, I just think he wants to do a video, so don't be too harsh on him. Of course, it's disappointing, but who knows what the reasons are. And Henry's been affected by this just as much as Zack. We've already spoken about what they did to his image. So we've got a very, very kind of interesting situation where before we were just these few people that people said, there's no cut, you're wasting your time, you're just a bunch of people, you can't convince other people to come to the party, you're wasting your time. But this movement is stubborn because we believe in this man, we believe in this cut, and we know. It's interesting, after I came out of the theatrical version, I heard so many things about behind the scenes of this movie and how Zack was removed, and I thought it was all bullshit, to be honest with you. I thought, I'll come off it, okay, we're not happy with this film, but people are just making up stuff. What's amazing about this is that a studio actually did this. They did treat him this way. They did remove him. The stuff about Jeff Johns is probably true, which is heartbreaking for me because I'm a big Jeff Johns fan. Diane Nelson actually hashtagged release the Snyder Cut. Imagine the stuff we said about her. It looks to me now that she was one of the good guys. Guess who didn't tweet out release the Snyder Cut? Jeff Johns. So you know who the players are now. We know who the guilty parties are. people hashtagging release the Snyder Cut that you would never imagine would hashtag release the Snyder Cut. It's that moment in history where you're going to want to remember this. You played a part. I played a part. It's that moment in history where the consumer had a voice. Isn't that beautiful? When we stood with this creative, Zack Snyder, that brave man, and after Gal and Ben Affleck tweeted out, Zack actually took to his Twitter and quote tweeting Ben Affleck's one and Gal Gadot's one as well. So he very rarely uses his Twitter. He used to use it all the time, but once the hate started, that's when he went over to Vero, because Vero is basically zero tolerance. You can't be toxic on there. So a very, very exhausting Sunday. What happened to me was I had Man of Steel and Batman v Superman on as I was tweeting and retweeting. I fell asleep for a few hours. I think I woke up at 4 a.m. and it was still going strong, and I was back. I was back conversing with everyone, and it was so awesome. I actually have got a video somewhere of one of the fans before he went to bed, and I want to play it for you because this is really special.
Trending today and just everyone coming together, it was a force. That's what it really was, and it felt important, and I was so happy to see like all the higher ups get involved and see everybody tweeting such amazing, beautiful things about Zack Snyder, about his films, about his cast, everyone who worked on that movie. You know what I mean? And everyone deserves to have that cut release. So like it was just awesome to see all that. So before I went to bed, I just want to say how like beyond proud I am of everybody, and I'm just some guy, so like take it for what it is, but I'm just beyond proud of everyone who came through the way that they came through. And we got to keep that momentum going. You know what I mean? Like we just got to keep it up today, tomorrow, the day after, as long as it takes. So let's keep this vibe up, and let's do it for Zach. That being said, it was a good day. Yeah, have a good night. Was good.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome, right? Pretty awesome. That's Ricardo Segarra, I think his name. That's how you pronounce his name. Just a fan. I don't know Ricardo, but I saw this and I just thought it's great to actually listen to the fans speak on a video, and I think it's awesome. It really is. And we've been accused of being part of a religious cult, toxic. But you just listen to Ricardo there, a sane guy who is a fan of Zack's DCEU movies, and he's just talking proudly about the rest of the fandom. Excuse me. And it's just look, for me, it's a really beautiful thing. This is part of it for me, that we've all kind of interlinked together to create a moment. All last week, these whole 7 days have been massive. There's been reveals, there's been pictures, there's been banter, there's been joking. It's been absolutely fantastic. And everyone should give themselves a big pat on the back. Whatever happens now, if or when this movie is released or there's an announcement, you can be proud. 30,000 tweets, 50,000 tweets, 70,000 tweets, 90, 300,000, 500,000. It is nuts. It is nuts what we have done. We have educated people. We have shown people what happened to Zack, and they have stood with us. And it's just a sensational time. It really is. This is a time in movie history that you will never forget. You will never forget the part that you played in releasing this picture. And I truly hope that Junkie XL's score is released today. That would be massive. That would be the first part. So imagine it's released today. You can listen to it on Spotify or on iTunes or whatever. It doesn't matter where you can listen to it. How many of us won't just be excited to be able to listen to that? We've really had to persuade Warner Brothers here. But I think no matter how many tweets we tweeted, if Kevin Sugihara remained CEO of Warner Brothers, it wouldn't have mattered. We couldn't have done this. Our tweeting has been very important, but the change of direction from Warner Brothers has been very, very compelling. I think bringing in Ann Sarnoff Obviously, after Justice League, Walter Hamada was brought in. They brought him down from New Line Cinema to run this. We know what he's done with Aquaman and Joker. Shazam was a really good film as well. Some good planning coming for other DCEU movies as well. But I think it's the entrance of J.J. Abrams at Warner Brothers that has pushed us over the line. All week we've been told we had to tweet. It was like we had to convince Warner Brothers that we would accept Zack Snyder back. The public would be okay with him coming back. I think that's the confirmation, because he is a controversial creative and there's been a lot of problems, there's been a lot of negativity, and I think they were worried about bringing him back. It was going to cause more problems. But the issue now is, because of all these tweets, when you're trending #1, the man must be very popular. It's like people are saying, do you know what? Let's give him another go. And I think J.J. Abrams has managed to set this whole thing up. I truly believe this. As a friend of Zack's, as a creative himself, he wanted this to happen. So I think we owe J.J. Abrams a lot if and when this happens. And it's a waiting game now. I was very interested. Let's talk about Screen Rant's article. Warner Brothers have no plans to announce a release of the Snyder Cut, right? Screen Rant don't know anything. Screen Rant don't know anything. All they knew that on Sunday, on the day that was Sunday, Warner Brothers had no plans to make an announcement then. This is poo-poo journalism. This is lazy journalism. It's clickbait. We were all happy. We were all excited that we got us trending to #1, and they have to kick us in the balls. It's ridiculous. All right? There's no announcement. And as it's so obvious there's no announcement, why do you do an article on it? I know. Release the Snyder Cut's trending #1 in the world, so I know. Let's just try and get some butts on seats. Let's get some loads of clicks because Release the Snyder Cut is trending. And it was pretty disgusting. And then there was another comic book kind of site that did the same thing. And I'm kind of thinking, enough with the negativity. Right now, we have achieved something. Achieved something nobody thought we could. Persuade a bunch of people who never believed that the Snyder Cut even existed or was a viable proposition to be released. The question always was, can it make any money? 500,000 tweets shows that the probability is that you could sell a lot of units in DVDs, Blu-rays, 4K, or even better, that you could get a lot of subs for HBO Max. So business-wise, this is going to be massive now. Because of all of this, because of us, because of our movement, this has become a bigger viability for Warner Brothers. It's going to make a lot more money than they ever thought it would. Nobody thought this could be profitable. So where are they going to release this initially? HBO Max, units as in DVDs, Blu-rays and 4Ks, or would it get a theatrical release? This film is a very different film. Obviously, there are elements similar to the theatrical cut, but mostly this is a very, very different film that's going to go in a very, very different direction. So, and you could release this in the cinema, and you know what? You don't know how much money this could make, because if you can get over 500,000 tweets, I'm kind of translating that into money. And who knows? I don't even want to make a figure. I don't even want to make a prediction here. But I think for a limited time, they will release this in theatres. This is massive. Now, the question still remains, if and when this does get released, will they bring Zack back to the DCEU? Will they give him Man of Steel 2? I obviously can't answer that question. I'm more confident about that than I was before, like a few months ago, or even 2 or 3 weeks ago. I never knew that we were going to get this big event before the 2-year anniversary of the theatrical release. But it's happened. It's massive. People I know who don't give a shit about films, what is this Snyder Cut you keep on tweeting about? You explain to them. Some of them have even started hashtagging it themselves. I told them about the man's daughter ending her life, him being removed straight after, and her death being used as a reason, as a justification for him being removed. And that's captured people's imagination. People who didn't know this story. What Sugihara did to him was hideous. Hideous. And it's all turning around now. as I said on the top of the show, we love him because he is a comic book fan. And he's us making movies. And we identify with him. He's so down to earth. He's an everyman. And everybody loves this guy who works with him. And that says something. Do you remember that Grace Randolph video accusing Zack Snyder of being sexist towards those women who were wearing the kind of armor on for mascara, right? And she was trying to insinuate that he was being disrespectful towards women, and that's not Zack Snyder. Anyone who's heard anything, any female who's worked with Zack knows he's an absolute gentleman. So, and we know that because women like Gal Gadot love him to bits. These top tier women wouldn't be working with him if there was some kind of issue. So, my friends, I believe, I've got a feeling, I don't have any facts, I believe there's going to be some kind of announcement later on today. I say later on because America's times are very behind from Europe, so people are asleep. I would say if you're in the UK, be alert in the afternoon from around 4 to 7 in the evening. Something could break. Something could be announced. But we may have to wait longer than that. We may still have to keep on fighting a little bit more. But that's fine because I know that you're the same as me. The blood's pumping now. We're ready to keep this fight going. So many people have given up their free time to tweet and retweet. And I know that Zach and Deb appreciate this. We are a family. We are a unit. Now, just quickly, before I sign off for today, because I'm just so focused on Release the Snyder Cut, I know that the cinematographer from Joker will be working on the Black Adam movie. So that's good news because the cinematography on Joker was absolutely fantastic. Now, I don't know the name of the awards, but I know for the first time in history, someone's won 2 awards from Joker as well. That's never happened for the same movie as well. So it's already, before awards season, it's starting to pick up a lot of awards. Hopefully, the people at the Academy reward this movie because it's a fabulous... Look, for me, forget the TV shows, but for DC film, I think it's been a really brilliant year. And let's not talk about box office. I think Shazam and Joker really captured people's hearts and imagination. And as I say, underwater Hamada, we can do beautiful things here. And imagine if we bring back Zack as well, those two working together. Who knows what's possible now? Who knows? And what's going to happen to this Wonder Woman movie? Is it the cut that I saw? Or is it the course correction? Is it the flashpoint? I would think with the tweets that they saw, the flashpoint won't happen now. But again, we just do not know. As usual, if anything breaks, boys and girls, I'm going to be back to announce it, analyse it, and tear it to shreds until there's no shreds left. So please, if you like the video, like, share, please subscribe, share the channel as well, tell people where I am, and let's keep on building up this community, and let's hope very soon we find out that they finally released the Snyder Cut.